This man's name is Lester Mkanda. He's a Malawian-Irish entrepreneur. You could say he's the definition of rags to riches, like literally gone through quite a lot. He's got a book. We're going to talk about that.
I want to teach, inspire, motivate people to, begin to rise up from the dust. It's possible to turn your life around. So I get to South Africa. When I arrived on Monday, that weekend, the guy who was meant to host me, they went out, and then the guy ended up being arrested, and he gets sent to prison pending trial. In South Africa, you are supposed to be paying every week. You're supposed to pay for your
rent. Yeah.
And then this gentleman, he comes to collect his money, and then I'm telling him what has happened. It's like, I'm only new here. It's like, okay, I don't buy stories. It's either you pay, you've got money, you pay me, or you get out. At this stage now, the only person I know in the country is behind bars, and I know absolutely nobody.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Miss Rena L. General.
Yours truly, Lomwe.
Yo, this is Black Jet.
Evo Timothy. Farmer Michael.
What it do, what it does.
What up, people? This was good.
You're listening to or tuned into
The 5Roundz podcast.
5Roundz.
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 Make sure you stick it right here, because it's litty.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to 5Roundz. I am One Tali, and today we have a special guest. But before I hit you up with this special guest, before I tell you who this person is, hey, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. You know how we do here. We are currently at 1,600 subscribers, so let's try and get that to 2,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. Who knows, eh? Who knows? Guys, obviously pre-recorded show. Sorry I couldn't be live, but don't worry, I didn't leave you hanging. I've got a fantastic human being here who has been through the rough. This man's name is Lester Mkanda. He's a Malawian-Irish entrepreneur, who's pretty much, you could say he's the definition of rags to riches, like literally gone through quite a lot. He's got a book. We're going to talk about that. He's gone from literally homelessness to entrepreneurship, going through the rough, really, and coming out on top. So I thought his story is quite inspirational. In fact, I'll let him tell it himself. And we'll go from there. If you do have any questions, guys, make sure they're in the comments. So without further ado, here is the man himself, Mr. Lester. Yep. How's it going?
Man, first of all, I just want to thank you. I appreciate the intro, man. It means a lot, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Everything's going good, man. Thanks a lot. How's things with you?
Things are great, brother. Things are great. I'm glad that, it's not too cold. As we live in Europe, I'm sure you're also in Ireland. It's right. Not too cold. The wind is not winding right now. So
That's right.
It's still summer, as they say, brother, But no, everything is all good. Thank you for coming on and, giving us the opportunity to learn your story and to be motivated. Yeah, so there are a lot of facets about you, right? Firstly, I know I've done an intro, but maybe I missed something out here, right? If I missed something out, please, once again, tell them who you are, where you come from, what you stand for, and how you got here.
Right, no, I think you've said pretty much everything in the intro, but like you said, I'm a Malawian-Irish entrepreneur, and I'm based here in Ireland, doing businesses, and man, it's just a book out, like you've mentioned that as well. So I think you've touched all the buttons there, man.
Good man. So tell us, your background is quite intriguing. So obviously, I don't want to start with a book, but I feel like I should. But anyway, we'll start with your early life, man. So in your book, right, this book that you wrote, which is where I got most of the information, your childhood was marked by a significant hardship, losing your parents by the age of 13, right?
Yeah.
How did those early experiences shape your character and drive?
Right. So just to put the text into context there, I was born in a family where my father, measured by the standard of his time, he was considered to be successful. So as a child, like for me, I never liked anything. So we had things in place then. And when I was 10, my father died, right? So, but then few weeks prior to my father dying, my sister died, so it was a tragic time. It was very, very hard time for me. There were a lot of deaths in the family. So when my father died, he was followed by a lot of my paternal uncles. So there were a lot of cries, a lot of death within a period of 1 year. So it was really dark for me. And 3 years later, my mom transcended. So she followed. So I was 13 at that time. So it was really, really dark for me, and like you have all this pain and you don't have anyone to talk to, you're just concealing all this pain, this trauma. Like in hindsight now, looking back, that was trauma, that was depression, because it was really hard, but I never talked to anybody. What I'm saying? So, and then I turned into this angry young man. I was just very angry, of everything that was happening. I didn't understand why I was angry. I was just angry at everything. I was angry at God. It's like, why if there's God, why is he allowing all these things to happen? Like, why me? So I was just that, I was just very angry, and then I reached a point whereby I just made a decision to just look, man, I'm just going to use this anger that I have, as a motivation factor for me to push me towards something better. So that's how those tragedies affected my character, man. It started off as an anger in between, and then I was just converted that anger as a fueling force, man, to push me, to propel me towards something positive.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I'm already moving, man. Already moving. For a lot of people that are watching this now who have probably never heard of you before, what makes your story significant? So, when you talk about seeing struggle and then being successful, what makes your story significant? Why do you want to share your story?
No, I want to share it because I do strongly believe that there's a lot of people going through what I went through. One of the tragedies that I think of our generation today is that we don't talk. We conceal things too much, and as a result, drugs and substance abuse is on the rise among young people, and suicide is on the rise among young people because we are carrying a lot of pain, we're carrying a lot of trauma, and we just don't want to share, And oftentimes, I think that the issue is we mistaken vulnerability with weakness. We think when we are vulnerable, then we are weak, when in reality, that's not true at all. You can be vulnerable and not being weak. These are two completely different things. So I'm bringing my story in a very transparent way to show people that it's okay. You can talk about these things, we can hang out. You can call your friends and say, look, man, I broke up with my girlfriend. I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm hurting. And be able to cry and release and heal from that, So I'm hoping that people can look at my story and say, look at this, he's almost the same age as us, but he's able to transparently share his story and be able to heal. So that's my hope, that in me sharing my story, I'll inspire others to join the body and be able to speak so we can change this thing of not talking.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's good. Honestly, it is a strong issue, especially when it comes to Africans, Malawians, men. Yeah. In fact, there was one of my colleagues. He spoke about this. He said, men are just normally told not to complain, move on with things.
That's right.
Yeah. Expressing your feelings is a sign of weakness. So, funny enough, we dropped a video about that today. So, things like that, I totally agree.
And just to cut across you there, man, that's what I went through. And I did know that because that's what I was told. Men don't cry. And it was hurting me. I would go to bed and I would be crying, just by myself, without sharing that pain with somebody. The moment I started talking about these things, I saw how that can help somebody, because I started to heal myself just by me talking and just open up and speak to somebody about this whole thing that I was going through, man.
Absolutely. So I know we've sort of gone into the deep end very quickly.
I love it.
Let's now just rewind a little bit, right? from the
Okay.
start, so the young you, before all these travesties happened, where did you grow up? So you said in your book, you said you grew up in the dusty ghetto in Malawi.
Right.
I want to
Right.
know.
So
where did you grow up? And
right, like I was saying it there first time, like I was born in Salima, right?
Okay.
That's where our family home was. So we were in Salima, and that's where I was born. And I did my primary school there. And then when my father died, I get adopted by my uncle. And he sends me to a boarding school to spend 4 years there. So I went to a government boarding school. Now I've moved from Salima to the lower states. So this is now in Chalo. So I'm in a government boarding school there for 4 years. And then after the boarding school, that's when I was like, okay, I have to move from here, because we've done the secondary school finished, and then I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do with myself now? And everybody else is singing about South Africa, man. Like South Africa is like heaven that time. It's like, man, if you go to South Africa, your life will be you will be changed. You'll be transformed. Yeah, you'll be changed. Like you go there, you get a job. You'll be able to afford to buy 3 things. The first one was a radio station. If you get a what was it called? A TV station. You get a TV set. You get a bicycle and a home theater radio system. Those were 3 things. Home theater. That's the word I was looking for. Home theater radio system. You get a home theater. You get a TV set and a bicycle. Man, you get these things, you're gone. I was like, that's the place I want to go, So to answer the question, then I've moved from Salima. I'm in Chalo. I did the secondary school. I was very young still. And when I was, I think, 16, that's when I moved from Chalo going to South Africa. So, when I get to South Africa, that's when the real story started.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it that people told you if you buy these 3 things, then you're sorted in life? Why was that the model of success at that point in time?
At that point in time, I think, like exposure is one thing, man. Like at that time, people, I'm talking about my immediate circle now. I'm not talking about the Malawi as a country. I'm talking about the immediate circle, the people that I was hanging out with. We weren't much exposed as to what else is out there. So success was measured by what we are seeing. So everything that we were seeing were people that has gone to South Africa and they have made it back. And these were the things that they were bringing back home. So, and when they come back home, they were like the kings of the land, with
the 3 things.
3 things, you understand? And a few new pair of clothes, and then that's it. And these were things that were displayed to us. And so, it inspired young people, like, okay, if you have all any other means to make it through education, like you can't go to college, you've got no support to go to university and things like that. It's like, for you to just be walking around here, man, you better off go to South Africa. You go there, work any kind of job, you afford to get these things, and you come home, you are the king of the land. So yeah.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. It's very interesting how we paint these success stories in Africa. It's so, like, I guess it's not just Africa. I think as people, we make shortcuts to say, hey, to make it, you just need to do these 3
things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when you realize, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
And then, that's the thing now, like, because then you reach there and then you get what other people describe as success. You get those, and then you're like, this is just a tip in the iceberg. There's a lot of things out there, man. That's why I'm talking about exposure, because then we measured success based on what we saw, and this is what we saw, and then we were like, okay, that's it. But then when you reach that level and then you've been exposed to a completely different world, it's like, oh, there's a lot out there, So yeah, you're right.
No, absolutely. Well said. So now you grow up in Malawi, you in Salima, you moved to Chalo, you do boarding school, you've moved now to South Africa, right? In seek of a better life. What happened in South Africa? How, what is it you were doing in South Africa? What were you looking to do? What were the challenges? How did that go?
Right. Now, where should I start? Moving from Malawi to South Africa, it wasn't that straightforward. Like I'm saying, I've explained everything in the book, but just to let people know that it wasn't that straightforward, because first of all, I didn't know anybody in the country, right? And it was my brother, because I have an older brother, and he got me in touch with somebody that he knew, a buddy of his from way back. It's like, I know a person lives in South Africa, he'll be able to host you. So I get to South Africa, and then when I arrived there, this guy is very good, and then he took me in. It's like, it's fine, Lester, you can stay with me for as long as you can, and then until you get a job, and then you'll be able to be on your own. I was like, okay, thank you, because on the ground looking for jobs. 1 week, I think we arrived. It was on Monday. When I arrived on Monday, that weekend, the guy who was meant to host me, they went out. And then the guy ended up being arrested.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so ended up being arrested, and he gets sent to prison pending trial. And I wake up in the morning, I see the guy is not in the room. I was like, what's happening? It was the roommates who said, oh, those guys got arrested, and I was like, oh, man. So in South Africa, you are supposed to be paying every week, you're supposed to pay for your
rent. Yeah.
And then this gentleman, he comes to collect his money, and then I'm telling him what has happened. It's like, I'm only new here, but the guy, he's not here, It's I was like, okay, I don't buy stories. It's either you've got money, you pay me, or you get out, And I'm just new. I don't know. At this stage now, the only person I know in the country is behind bars, and I know absolutely nobody. And I've got no money and no any choice, So I had to give up the accommodation. That's when I found myself in the streets.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes,
Jesus. So, okay. How, we fast forward a little bit. You ended up in Ireland. So how did you go from being in the streets in South Africa to then Ireland? And then we can go back and fill in these gaps, really. Like, you're new in Malawi. I'm guessing you didn't decide to go, I'm going back to Malawi. You literally went,
No.
This is what. So what did you do? Like, how did you figure your life out from that point, basically?
Right. So from that point on, for me, like you said, there were two options. It's either to give up and go back to Malawi, of which to go back to Malawi, you still had to get some money for transportation to go back to Malawi, which I did not have. And for me, I looked at those two options like, okay, I go back to Malawi, but then what am I going to do there? Like, it's home, but home is not there, So I sticked around. I was like, okay, I'll just figure things out. So what I was doing is I would wake up every morning going through the Worthing neighborhood. We're talking about, because I arrived, I was living in Utenek. It's a small town called Utenek in Port Elizabeth, in the Eastern Cape, right? So I would wake up, and then I would walk around the Worthing neighborhoods of Utenek, knocking on doors, just looking for any kind of jobs, knocking on doors. So after doors, excuse me, my name is Lester, I'm from Malawi. I'm looking for any kind of job that you can have, cutting grass, anything you have. Just try me, I'll prove you, I'm here to work, Some will politely tell me, say, we don't have a job, Some will just bang the door and just, just get out of here, what you want from here, and I'll just keep going. I just kept going,
Yeah.
And one day, I remember I had gone from knocking on doors, and I was so tired, man. I decided to just seek shelter at one of the shopping mall there by the name of AfriServe. It's number 50 Millbrooks Avenue. So I stood there, and then while I waited there, I saw an older lady coming out of the shopping mall, pushing a trolley with groceries. And she was struggling, to get hold of that trolley. It was very heavy. So I go to her and say, excuse me, mama, can I give you a hand? So I helped her, pushing the trolley, and helped her unpack all her groceries into the car. And she gave me a tip of 2 rands. Said, thank you, son. You can have this. I say, no, I was just trying to help. He said, no, you can have it. So I took that 2 rand. I bought myself a cool drink and bread. That was my meal for that day. And then ever since that day, I figured out, okay, I think I can do this for a living, you know. So every day, every day I would come from the street and then just wait on the outside the shopping mall, waiting for people who would come out with, trolleys. So I would volunteer my time pushing trolleys, and they would give me tips. And then it was from that tips I started saving up, and then got my accommodation back. And I started putting adverts in newspapers looking for a proper job. And I received a phone call. It was one phone call that changed my life. I got unemployment, a very decent job, and things started moving, and I would work and then still started a business doing electronics, selling gadgets and clothes and this, and saving up money and, things like that. Yeah. So from there, then I went back to Malawi to visit and then came back and moving to Ireland.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Ireland, so now like everywhere you've gone, you've faced some challenges, but you've come out of it. You've always come out of it and sort of, I could say, sort of done the best out of it. Literally from going to helping a lady with her groceries, and then you find this great opportunity. What made you travel to Ireland? If you're saying you went to South Africa to succeed, why did you then decide, actually, let me go to Ireland?
Right. So you have to understand the time frame, because we're just cutting here, but I've put everything in the book. So at this stage that I'm doing the pushing of trolley and then I've got a job, things started to really working out for me now, starting to look up, we thank God for that. And then I started saving up money and then started these small businesses. And after that, I got another job working with banks, doing card repossessions and debt collections. And, so I was like, but there's this nudging, I'm just feeling like there's still something out there, it's just a nudging. It's like, there's still something out there. So the mission for me was not really to come to Ireland. I was pretty much sold on an American dream. So I wanted to go to America, right? So I go and apply for American visa and they turned me down. They're like, where are you going, boy? You stay here. So like, I go again. It's just within me. I don't give up easily, and I go again and I apply again. And I think it was 2 or 3 times, and like it was all negative. I was like, okay, I get it, And then I was like, okay, if I can't go to America, let me try to go as close to America as possible, And it's like, okay, and I started looking. It's like I'm seeing Mexico. I was like, but I don't want to go to Mexico, And then I see Canada. I was like, okay, they speak English. I go there, So I try Canada. And then Canada's like, where do you think you're going?
Oh my gosh.
Where do you think you're going? And, my visa for there as well got rejected. And I was like, okay. So something happened, fast forward, then that's when I'm landing at Dublin Airport, because I was like, okay, let me go try there and see what happens. But my favorite book says, men are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the purpose of God that prevails. I had planned all that. I thought America was the way for me, or Canada was the way for me. That's what I had planned. But little did I know that God has something else, apart from those 2 places.
Can you say that again, please, for the people at the back? Because we need to hear that quote once again.
Right. Oh, yeah. So it's a scripture, actually. It says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the purpose of God that prevails. So like I had planned something else. I had planned the America. I had planned Canada, but little did I know that God had something else in mind for me.
All right. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I'll start with the book, actually. I'll start with the book. So you get to Ireland and you do a few things, First, well, correct me if I'm wrong here. You currently own a business. You know,
Yes.
if I say this right, Caledon Motors Limited.
Yes,
so you own a car,
right? Yes.
car sales business, which is doing very well. I've got the website here. In fact, I need to share this website. You know what I mean?
Sir.
No, absolutely. So you got this, you do this car business. How did that come about? You know, again, we're talking about somebody who's not long, you know, a while back was pretty much homeless, you know,
Yes, sir.
Facing misfortunes of just bad luck, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, all this adversity. And all of a sudden now you're an entrepreneur, you know, an owner of a car sales business. This is not a joke. How do you go from that? You know, is it just pure luck? You know, what was it exactly?
Like now in hindsight, looks like all of a sudden, but it's been some time. It's been a long time coming. It has taken a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, you know, and it's not pure luck. I think everything that happens, it has to be intentional. Like it was all pre-planned, and you know, like and the work that's gone into it. Like even coming to Ireland, it didn't just when I first came here, it didn't just start off by opening businesses. You know, like I've worked any odd jobs that you can think of. I've cleaned toilets, I've done security, I've worked in warehouses, I've done it all, you know. So I've been working all along and then still be able to do a little bit of business on the side, and you know, while I'm still working and doing this and saving up, you know. So it's the plan has always been that in entrepreneurship and go full time in it. So yeah, now like in hindsight, like I say, it's like it's just happened all of a sudden, but yeah, it's been a journey. That's what I can say.
Absolutely. Okay. The other thing that you have done is obviously you have a book out. I'm trying to avoid talking too much about the book because you know I need people to actually read the book. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it is your creation, so I don't want to give them too much. You know.
Yes.
But yeah, you've got a book, Up from Dust: The Backstory of My Journey of Hope and Success. Right.
Yes, sir.
First, let's start with what the book is about in general. So what is the message behind the book? Why should somebody go and buy it? Which again, it's available on Amazon, by the way, guys. It's available on Amazon. It's also on your website, I can see. LesterMkanda.com. So what's the book about? And what made you write this book?
Right. The book is about overcoming adversities. You know, making it, you know, in the face of all odds that may be seen against you, you know, have this resilience. They say, I'm still going to make it regardless. So the book is about teaching, inspiring, and motivating people that are going through the hurdles of life. You know, I want them to read my story. I want them to see that if that guy can be able to change the trajectory of his life, I can do it. You know, so that's what all the book is about. And what really inspired me to write the book was the fact that now being a parent, you know, first of all, let me start to say, if you don't say a story, somebody else will tell your story and they will not do it justice. They will not do it justice. You understand me? So like me having kids, then growing up, seeing them growing up, and we touched on that topic as well. We talked just, you know, a couple of minutes ago about men not talking, you know, not being transparent, not being, you know, like not opening up and share the things that we are going through. So I want to say that example, say with more especially in our culture, you know, like we don't talk these things, you know, we don't share. You know, I'm not the only one from Malawi who's going through this. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. Some, they just don't want to open up. So I wanna say this, and as an example, say it's okay. We can talk, we can share this, and help other people that are going through similar circumstances.
Okay, wow. Good. Now that I've sort of built the profile of where you came from, the struggles you had, and where you're at, roughly, right?
Right.
What was so? What were the key strategies or mindsets that helped you succeed in Europe? Because now you're not just in another country, you're in another continent, you know? where
Yes.
you know the culture might be a little bit different and all these things. So what? So now I know you had a plan, but how did you succeed? What was the strategy to succeed in Europe, being somebody of another continent?
Right. There's a few. Like for me, the first of all, like I would say, delayed gratification. You know, delayed gratification is right on top, and also understanding. I understood this early in life, like understanding the difference between looking successful and being successful. A lot of us, I think one of the tragedies of our generation again is that we try to do things that we cannot afford, but just so that we can look successful in the eyes of others, and upon such mentality, I don't think you can be able to build a successful business. I think there's a huge difference between looking successful and being successful. So for me, I do take my time. I don't want to just show off. I want something of substance. I don't even care if people talk about me or know about me, as long as I know that what I'm doing is working for me and for my family, So those are the strategies, and also like I understood as well early in life about the importance of time. I don't just waste the time. There's some people out there who are energy drainers. So energy drainers. So I know how to cut them off my life. When I know that this relationship is there to ruin that which I'm trying to achieve, I do not maintain that relationship. I get rid of all people, situation, and things that do not belong. So those are the strategies. I when I set my mind to do something, I'm just focused on getting that done.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's very interesting. Now, in terms of strategy, we got it. Mindset is one. I myself, I'm also in diaspora, right? Now,
Yes.
having being a migrant, especially an African migrant with a business in another country is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, in terms of mindset now, because when you come to another country, naturally you want to be part of the community. So you start to look for the community you're familiar with, right?
Yes.
So what I tend to see is Malawians will stick with Malawians, Zimbabweans stick with Zimbabweans. And if you can't find your fellow Malawians or whatever, you go and stick with Africans, right?
Yes.
But what I tend to see is we target the same jobs, we do the same things and all these things. Now, if a young kid right now in Malawi is watching this and going, okay, you're out there, your story is quite good, right? But I know so many people that, as they say in Malawi, Kalamba, Bangaja, they do all these low level jobs or whatever it is, or, literally just accepting that the status quo, like you said, with South Africa, where they said you just need three things to succeed.
Yes.
The same model is also happening here. How did you separate yourself from that? I know this is a long question, but
yes.
Now break off from that. Is it because of the challenges you had before? I'm very interested to know that part.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Let me take you back. Like when my mother died, right? When my parents died, when my father died, like my mind, I was very sad. I was very devastated. But still, when I looked at my mother, I was like, I still have a parent, right? And when my mother died, I remember the last conversation that I had with her. Something unspoken of happened. Like I had made a covenant. A covenant within my spirit and her spirit, because we never even spoke about that. But I know for me, it was a covenant that me promising her, on her deathbed, that I would try to do whatever it takes to become the kind of person she would have loved to see me becoming, no matter what, so I became a no matter what person. So when I moved to South Africa, I studied people. I was multicultural. I would see people, interact with people from Nigeria, Zimbabwe, the white South Africans, Indians, the Hindu, everybody, so I was just I'm just like that, I interact with people, positive people. I love them, So I would just study them, the things that they're doing. And I would see all these people coming from everywhere, and they're coming, opening up big businesses in South Africa. I was like, oh man, look at these people, the mindset. So I was tapping into that kind of mindset. Say, we can do anything. If this guy from Nigeria is here and is opening a shop here, how can I not? And then it was the same thing, the same programming, the same mindset. When I came here, I would see all these people, East Europeans, they're coming here. Some people don't speak a word of English, but they're coming here, opening up businesses. I was like, you can't tell me that all these people are smarter than me. It doesn't take an Albert Einstein to do this. I've been doing businesses. I can do something. Because even when I was young, like I was into business. This is how I was programmed. Even when my parents were there, we had a mango tree and a Chinese apple tree outside. So I would go shake the mangoes down and take them to the bus stop and sell them. And then save up money, buy cold drinks and sell them at the bus terminal. I was just like that, just entrepreneurial spirit. So when I went to South Africa, it was the same, selling gadgets, clothes, cell phones, laptops. So when I came here, it was the same mentality. Say, but why can I not? That's the thing. Like we don't want to put barriers. Sometimes all these are barriers that we place for ourselves. You say, okay, just because our community does not do that. But have you ever asked yourself why not? Who said that we should come here and only do these things? I'm not saying that doing those things is bad. I've told you, I've worked all that, I've done cleaning toilets, I've done warehouses. So I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, to answer your question, just the mentality that I had. So if you feel comfortable, it's not like everybody was born to be an entrepreneur. If you feel comfortable to do those cheap things, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine, as long as you're happy. The question is, are you happy? Do you like what you're doing? For me, I was not comfortable doing that. I was doing it because I had to survive. But still, I would feel this pulling force to say, this is not for me. This is not for me. There's something out there. There's something out there, because I think and I believe that God had planted that for me. So yeah, that's when I break out and try something new.
Okay, that's brilliant. Actually, so survival was not enough. Basically, it was
not. Yeah, no, for me it was not. Yeah,
something more. And I can see that you didn't wait. You didn't wait to get comfortable. You literally went to the next thing.
That's the thing. Like when I say to do something, for me, there's never a right time for me to go and do it. Once I have an idea and I've put the systems in place in my mind, I've make a blueprint of that, just to jump off the boat and figure it out as I go. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. I got two questions that are pretty much similar. So to this moment, what is your biggest achievement? And so it could be your proudest moment. It could be anything. So what is your biggest achievement? And then also with that question, what has been your biggest challenge, in your journey so far?
Right. So the biggest achievement for me, I would say family, man. Family. With my upbringing and being lonely and just being on the road and, not having a place to call home, for me, it was really hard, because like I said, I had it all together when my parents were around. We had a home, we had a family. So when all that was shattered and I lost everything, all the inheritance that my parents left behind, and I was on the road and, I longed for a time where I would have a family and a place to call home. So now I think my biggest achievement is not pretty much on the material things that God has blessed us with, but it's the gift of family, man.
Oof, that's big. That's massive. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. No, that's absolutely massive, and that's a nugget. I think that's a very important nugget to take away. Yeah. No matter what you chase, sometimes the answers are within.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely great. So now, challenge. What was your biggest? We've already heard that literally you get to a country, somebody's in jail. You have nothing. So what, out of all of that, what do you think was your biggest challenge?
There's been a lot, but the one that really hit me so hard was number 50 Melbrook Street, man, back in Utrecht, South Africa, at the shopping mall. pushing trolleys, barefooted, looking for a job in a foreign country. I can't find anything. I'm thirsty. It's hot, and I've got nowhere to live.
Jeez.
That was so devastating for me. It's like, where do I go from here? I can't even go back home. You know. Yeah. So and I'm still young. My mind hasn't really developed that the fighting. You know. So that was really like I've gone through some really hard times, but now with the age factor, I'm a little bit older, and you know it's fine, you know. But then at that age, and then going through that, it was a blow for me.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
No, absolutely great. With your challenge, right? Was there no family? You know, were you not in communication with family in you know, back home? Was there nobody there to sort of give you a little bit of encouragement or support or anything like that?
Okay, let me explain this. Like, yeah, I have 2 older brothers. All right, it's 2 years difference with us. So the oldest at the time I think was like 17 or 18. So the other family we have is like uncles from my mother's side. That's where we were very close with. But then when I'm in South Africa at that time, I had made this decision myself to go there. Right, I'm just like this myself. Like, I don't really want to worry you with my problems. I've always been like that. So if it's something that I've decided that I'm going out to hunt, you know, if I meet a lion there, I just have to deal with that lion. You know, if you see me come back, that means I've slain the lion, and then I'm coming back, I'm victorious. So I don't want to call you all the time and say, look, man, I'm really, really struggling now. In fact, I never even mentioned to my brothers that I was sleeping rough.
Wow.
I'm talking that in the book because there's a reason for that, because I did not want them to get worried. The fact that I was young, alone in a foreign country, I know it hit them hard, you know, but, you know, they made that, you know, sacrifice and said, it's fine, you can go. So I didn't want to worry them much about the realities that was happening on the ground. So I would call them when I get some, I remember I get tips, I would go on these phones, you put the coins, and then you would make a phone call and you say, everything's fine. Yeah, actually, I get it. When in fact, I'm not even working.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's just who I am. Like, I don't want to worry people with my own troubles, you know. So, yeah.
I hear that. And okay, so now with everything that you've spoken about, right? What values do you want to pass on to your children and your would-be listeners, your fans, the people that will take inspiration from this? What values are you looking to pass on based on the journey you've had?
There's a lot that I've learned. I think what I can say, I think that's going to be suitable for everybody. I mean, people listening, but also for my kids and for everybody who's looking to do something, you know, to change the trajectory of their life or whatever it is. I think one of the things that I've learned is to value people, to live well with people, you know, the importance of that. Because like here we're just talking, but there's a lot that I've unpacked in the book about the roles people have taken to help me to get to where I am. Because now we're just talking about me, but you're not seeing that if I'm here, I'm standing, you know, on the shoulders of the giants. There's been people that have really invested in me, and they have believed in me and say, you know, it seems like you're up to something. It seems like you're really, really serious about what it is that you want to achieve. You know, but for us to be to that point, it has taken me to be able to live well with those people. You know, I think one of the gifts that we have is the relationships that we have around us, the positive, supportive relationships that we have around us. I think we should treasure that.
Wow.
We should, yeah.
Okay. And what's it looking like for you in the, you know, what are your future goals personally and professionally? So you've, you know, again, like you said, you sound very ambitious. You know, you didn't stop at South Africa, you know, and I'm guessing you're not stopping at Ireland either. I'm not saying you're moving out of Ireland, but what are your future goals personally and professionally? Because currently you're married, you have children, you have a business, you've written a book. What is next? Are you doing a movie or what?
Yeah, we might. We might. Yeah, we might. No, like for now, I would say I just I just believe that I'm on a mission at this stage of my life. I'm on a mission to just use my story, like I say, to teach, to inspire, and to motivate people. People looking at me and see if this guy can, move his life from where he was, at the bottom, very, very bottom, to be to where he is. Maybe it's possible for us to turn our lives around as well, So, like, for me, the mission is that. So whether be it through this book or God's willing, maybe we're going to translate the book into a movie or a TV series, and as long as we get the story out, let people hear the story. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, just, to get the story in the hands of people.
Jeez, coming soon. Movie coming soon.
Don't know.
You never know. Okay, last question. If you could advise anyone, right, that is currently going through what you're going through, right? Or even if, let's say, we go back to that boy who's getting kicked out of a house, is in South Africa, is new environment, learning to put your feet together. And is thinking, what the hell is this? What advice would you give that person if they came up to you and said, this is what's going on with me right now?
Stop complaining. Stop complaining. The fact that you've been picked out, to be picked on by life, it's an indication that greatness has been recognized. So you've got greatness in you. If you're facing something challenging, there's something in you, that is supposed to be birthed out. So I would say just keep going, keep pushing, and it will happen. You will reach there. You will change your life. It's as long as you're willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. My favorite book says. So we just have to work hard. Know that which you want, and then go all out. Take no prisoners and eat the wounded.
Good. I want to play devil's advocate on that one, man. As my friend says, devil's advocate. Basically. Well, you said you should stop complaining. I mean, this guy's going through it. At the beginning, you said, hey, we're not allowed to talk. So this guy's now talking to you saying, bruh, I'm going through it right now, man. So now you're telling him he shouldn't complain? What's going on there? Oh, my God. Okay. No, fair enough, man. Fair enough. No, very good, Dad. Very, very good. Thank you very much, Lester, for sharing your story. Is there anything at all that I've missed that you would want to share, or maybe that's quite important to your message?
No, I think we've touched all bases. And what I can add about the story is we're saying I want to teach, inspire, motivate people to begin to rise up from the dust. When we're talking about the dust, we're not just talking about the financial dust. We're talking about anything. It can be an addiction dust. It's possible to turn your life around. You just have to make that deliberate decision to commit to that. Do everything required for you to turn that life around. So whether you're struggling with addiction or it's a poverty dust, it's possible. It's possible to change your life. That's for sure. Take it from me.
Jeez. Wow. Thank you very much, Lester. That is Mr. Lester Mkanda, right? Big story. If you want to know more about his story, go and read the book. I wasn't going to read the whole book on here. You know what I mean? Go and read the book. You can buy it off of his website, lestermkanda.com. Go over to, so if you can see on my screen here, buy the book. It's the last tab. Just scroll down and you can see here, order a copy. If you can't, you can get the ebook here. You can get the soft copy. You can also get it off Amazon. If you guys are Amazon addicts or whatever it is, And
just to add on the orders now, if they want a special signed copy, that can only be done through the official website. If they go and contact author and then just drop me an email and we take the details from there, and then I'll send them a signed copy. Under the same note, man, Wantali, you don't buy anything. I have one for you there. So I'll give you with a signed copy that's going to be posted out to you, man. I really appreciate it to be here.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is a very gracious gift. Absolutely.
You're welcome, brother.
No, thank you very much. The other thing, guys, is if you are looking for a car and you happen to be in Ireland, hey, we got a bit black-owned business in Ireland, guys. Come on now. Yeah. So I hope I'm saying it right. Caledon Motors. I can see that you guys do finance as well.
We do finance as well. Yeah.
Come on, support your guy here. So yeah, also you can get your brand new car off of this place, man. Come on. Do you know what I mean?
To mention, you struggle with Caledon there. Caledon, I named that company based off from the street that I used to sleep in back in South Africa. So I used to sleep in a street called Caledon Street down in Utenek, Port Elizabeth, South Africa. So I take the name of that street and name my company after that.
Wow. Nugget. My bad. I missed that one. No, that's an absolute nugget, man. Absolute nugget. So yeah, there you have it. Mr. Lester Mkanda, 5Roundz podcast is One Tally over here. Make sure you are subscribed, guys. And tell your friends, inspire your friends. Don't just be inspired on your own. Tell your friends, no. Thank you very much, Lester, for coming through.
Man, I appreciate your time. Yeah, really.
Yeah, man. This has been absolutely dope. And it's 5Roundz podcast signing out. We out. Peace.